And you're listening to 2GLF 89.3 FM. Welcome back to the Relationship Whisperer show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. We are coming live in the studio right now, and our regular listeners can probably guess who it is I've got in the studio with me. Welcome back, Bluey. Thanks for coming back.
Someone's got to have a voice for the blokes.
For the blokes, yeah. I am glad you are game enough to come back.
Well, it was wasn't easy, but made it here. Yes.
Yes, you made it here. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a bloke-centric. Well, I wouldn't say particularly bloke-centric, but I'm going to question the blokes today. And that is, do men need to be established financially before getting married? Do they need to, or is it a good idea that they should?
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Yes, I know. It's that dreaded word again, the word that... we're not supposed to say in polite company and conversation. The dreaded M word.
N word?
The M word.
Oh, they said N word. Oh, my goodness, where are you going?
Oh. And I'll tell you what the second...
Money!
Yeah, money changes everything. I know. Yes, money and love, as they keep saying, shouldn't go together, and should not be a factor at all. I mean, you've heard that? You've heard the saying?
Yeah, it's usually with the one that doesn't have it.
The people that don't have it, kind of like you're saying, justify why they don't have it, or their position, or why it's not necessary. Yeah?
Yeah.
The people that, like I say, don't have it tend to try to justify that's the case. Yeah. That is not necessary. But, as you know, look, we're in a cost of living crisis. It's about money. Yeah, and people are under stress.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, it's a centerpin of human existence, really, isn't it? Especially in the Western world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need money to survive, and we need to be responsible for our earthly existence. So we need, in order to do that here, we need cash. So, yeah, and in relationships, what you notice is that when there's not enough money, there's not enough honey. You know what I mean?
Yes, the way you picture it, you put it, to some people, it sounds almost like prostitution.
Well, no.
Well, some people would take it that way. They say, no money, no honey.
Well, I reckon that some relationships are even sort of like that in some way, like business relationships. CEOs or whatever, marrying the
trophy wife.
Well,
trophy wife,
or the person who does all the running around for them. What do you call it? PAs?
PA? It's not often that happens, and it's not.
No, it's not. They're not often. CEOs marry PAs.
No,
I thought it was quite a big trend.
No, it's often that they have affairs with their PAs. That's what I've noticed, and it's more like they marry the trophy wife first, and then the trophy wife, she just spends all her days at the beauty salon and shopping, and the person then he's always around is the person that helps him.
Yeah.
That helps him around, and so then he
picks up the dry cleaning and
does all that, and spends time with him, and actually shares his life. Actually,
yeah,
she becomes almost like the wife.
Yeah, and then it's the discussion point as well, because you're
in the discussion.
You're in the same industry.
Same thing. No,
same focus every day.
Practically, they're sharing a life together.
Yeah.
And this is something people don't get.
You can spend more time at work than with people at work than what you do. People at home.
Yeah. So if you are not sharing a life, people say, oh, yeah, what do? You're married to you share your life together. Someone you share your life together. It's almost like they give it lip service rather than any true meaning. What is sharing a life together then to these people? You just physically live together? Is that it? One person, or, you both have your own careers. And just come home and sleep together. Well,
What was the question
sharing
again?
a life. Originally, do men need to be established financially before getting married? And I'll tell you why. What prompted this topic for today is that I did see a short video on social media
Yeah,
from a male relationship expert.
a male relationship.
relationship
Okay.
expert. So
MGTOW person?
not
Men
necessarily.
going their own way?
Not necessarily, yeah, but he is pretty hard and I've noticed, yeah, more traditional. But he's saying, well, I wouldn't say traditional, more on the more conservative end.
Okay.
Okay, he says that women should choose men that are financially and emotionally stable. And he brings up the line, if people are familiar with the book Pride and Prejudice, classic novel by Jane Austen.
Jane Austen.
Yeah, and the opening line of it is,
Oh,
it is a universally acknowledged, it's a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Do you agree with that? A single
must
man
be in want of
of
a
a
wife.
wife. Yeah, a single man in possession of a
Obviously
good
that's not true
fortune.
because there's some people who, they might be in want of a husband.
Well, we're talking about men.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Hello. This
oh,
is
okay. You're
what
talking
year
about
are we in?
what year in
Yeah.
what at the
Unless
moment.
things just started to shift again.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
that's not what the
but
show's about. So
Right, for sure. So, but in the most part, yeah, well, money is as far as, women look for stability, and they,
yeah, and they said, yeah, stability. And he's saying that it's normally then that if you want a man like that, it'll be older men.
yeah.
Because it does take time for a man to accumulate
So I think
assets and
as
resources.
a person matures, we've all been 15, 16 and, teeny bopper pictures on the walls and stuff, and we grow out of it and we go on to another stage in life. And as we progress and sort of as we become wiser, perhaps, and all of the rest of it. Like I remember there was someone said recently, "What would you, if you had the chance now to go back and being 15 again, would you do it?"
Would you do it? The
And
joys
and
of
it's
youth.
like only if you knew what you knew now. If you didn't, no way in the world.
Well, wait a minute. Become that dumb person
Yeah,
that you
it's
were
like,
back
oh
then.
God,
Oh my goodness.
imagine having to go through it all again.
That learning. Oh, why does this work this
And we
way?
still make mistakes.
It's at that point where when you were people were young, they look at the old and they think, oh, you knew. Then you know nothing. Yes, mate. And then I guess when they get older,
Yeah.
they can think back, oh, they knew so much.
Yeah.
Why was
And-
I so dumb? Why didn't I listen?
And I think with a woman, it's like when she's young, she's like the princess and this, and all that,
Yeah.
19 or like whatever age. And then as she gets a bit older, she suddenly goes, oh, the clock's ticking.
Of course.
And then, and so on and so on. And
Yeah.
they're looking to, where am I going to settle down and who with?
Yeah, and this
know?
is the thing. Knowing all that, why don't parents actually tell them that? Hey on,
Well,
you're in your
it's-
20s.
it's
Yeah, this is
strange,
the
isn't it?
big
It's not like
thing.
there's a rule book or something.
No, but they would have gone through that same thing themselves.
Yeah, well, they think it's...
And then why not not tell you where your daughter has no idea?
Well, I think a lot of the times they do tell them. It's just that the children just don't listen.
No,
Because
amount of
usually-
times they don't tell them a lot of things.
There's the old
Oh, I don't
adage,
want to
like,
interfere. I don't want to
there's-
tell her what to do.
There's no
Let her
parents.
live her life.
There's no parents-in-law good enough for the son or the daughter. There's no son-in-law or daughter-in-law good enough.
For their child.
Yeah, for their child. You see, so
No, but look, and this is the thing. You know how you have older men. You should, by what he's saying, you need old. You're gonna have older. So the type of men women should marry is older, financially, emotionally stable, and also financially stable, because it takes time for men to accumulate. But then women need to marry young, because so they can have children. It's the fertility aspect. So in that respect, that's why you may have younger women marrying older men. It makes sense in that way.
yeah.
One with the resources and the other one
Especially
with
if
the
they can do it without
fertility.
a prenup.
especially if they can do without prenup. Now, this is one thing he also said. He said that, look, for a man, if he's young, okay, he should marry because at that stage he hasn't accumulated enough yet. He's only in the beginning stages, depending on how old he is and how many distractions he's had. Because if you marry a woman, it'll stop you from one. It'll stop you from she'll interfere with your accumulating, and second, she's going to be spending your money.
Yeah.
Okay, and I heard what he's saying, and that is actually the prevailing thought at the moment. And in a lot of instances, it's actually true.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, no,
It can be the total opposite. And so for that, we'll go to the music and we'll be right back, where we're going to delve into this heavy topic more.
Well, I spent many years in professional sports.
Oh, okay.
And I'll absolutely categorically say that if you're in a relationship,
you couldn't.
You're very difficult to be an elite. You might make it at a professional level, but to be an elite, you got to be single.
Because of the focus, right?
Yeah, because of the focus. And you know what else? It's once there's an argument or some form of distraction,
it puts you off.
You're not thinking about what you should be thinking about. You're thinking about other things. And unless, however, what you just said before, you get a gem of a woman. If you find a gem, she can make you the best. She can make you the best because she can prepare everything for you and know when to keep your moods focused. If she's smart enough, she knows if she needs to vent something, she'll do it at a time when it wouldn't matter.
You know
You'll be over it by the time of the game.
She knows where her bread's buttered. Okay, she'll realise that, and if she's smart enough to play,
that could be a good commercial.
If she's smart enough to play the long game.
If she's smart enough.
She'll play the long game.
Yeah. So if a professional sports guy gets a gem, that can really make him. But if he gets normal people, very difficult.
Very difficult. I totally agree.
Bring up the ugly side, rears its ugly head, and all of a sudden,
and from that,
I'm
you're
not getting enough
attention. Oh, you didn't remember my birthday,
and then
or
when he's
something
on the
like
field,
that.
he doesn't catch the ball.
Yeah,
it falls on the ground, and he loses the contracts. You see, he's not.
Yeah.
You know, you want to see outstanding play, not.
And she's got to be smart enough to know he's got to be successful. The more he's successful, the more money he'll bring in and benefit the both of you. And you get benefits you.
Yeah, it sounds simple.
But people still don't get it.
It sounds simple.
This is the thing.
But when you're faced with it.
You see all this advice, it's not being put out there.
Yeah.
You see? And that is what we're trying to correct here.
Yeah.
Okay? That's
and a
what's
lot
totally
of times these major teams, they have psychologists just for all the wives and the girlfriends to make absolutely, because they've got to keep them happy.
You know why?
They know that the guy's success is largely dependent upon
the women, but but who's the with? But unfortunately, the men just choose the models, the trophy ones, rather than think too deeply. You know why? Because they think they've got an image to uptake. That's at least then their partner. The woman needs to be a
well,
certain
it's not
look.
always the case because
Usually
some people have had
praise.
childhood sweethearts or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no end to, possibilities of what's occurred. But for the most part, because you know why? There's these women who dress like that and look like that. They put a lot of work into it, and they're doing it for a reason. They're putting that work in for a reason. They're
it's
at
their
that
investment.
They're at that mirror, like that's their business model, and they're putting on the war paint, Yeah, and it's like that's their business model, and so they've got to be attractive, and then they've got and why? Because they're also probably smart enough to know that they don't want to work.
Yeah, if they're smart enough.
If you're pretty enough, you'll get the billionaire or whatever. And then you won't need to work anymore. And you've got a sort of a life of... But there's an old adage in all of that. Mm. And the old adage is, quite simply, if you marry for money, you'll truly earn it. And with that, we should go to a break.
All right, then. The Relationship Whisperer Show with Miss Dragonfly.
Didn't you do the chart for Whitney Houston?
I'm not sure. No, I think I did not do her. I did a lot of other celebrities. Yeah. She was a bit of a funny one, though. I think was she declared her death ruled a suicide or overdose?
Ruined. I believe it was suicide by overdose. Or was it?
Or was
Yeah,
accidental
no,
death?
because she was in the bathtub.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
I remember they were saying like she on her last performance she was kind of like on a high.
Well,
Her
or a
last
low, one of the two. She came to Sydney once too, apparently, and people were really upset.
because her
She didn't
performance
even know
was.
where she was.
Oh, okay, that would have been the sign. Look, she should have gotten
She,
help. I mean, someone should have helped her.
yeah.
So
Not easy to work with celebrities sometimes, though, and but yeah, God bless her. Hope she's all right.
it's like like
What a
elites,
voice.
like famous people. They're surrounded by yes men all the time. People that don't want to contradict them, or basically want to just go along with what they want to do. So even if it harms them, because trying to say tell them or correct them to be what's good for them is hard work and conflict and all that sort of thing. You might even get yourself fired. So there's no point, I guess.
Just go along with it.
Yeah, just go along with it. But I don't believe in going along with things. So that's why all my advice is, I would say, I think you would say,
Controversial. Rubs
not politically correct. Because
rubs people the wrong way. A
rubs
bit.
people the wrong way a little bit, because the truth can be unsettling, uncomfortable, and people bristle at that. But the thing is,
Bristle away.
but anything that's politically correct, you see, politically correct is something that we want it to be true. We aspire and we hope it is. But
Yeah, that seems like political.
yeah, politically correct, but in reality, often it's not true.
And that also seems political.
That's true. That's why if you get advice based on political correctness, it does not work, because
Well,
it's based upon
Perhaps seldom works.
on a
Is
I
more
wish.
better for term.
Yeah, I said often doesn't work.
Hmm.
Well, more than not doesn't, and more often than not does not work, because as I say, political correctness is an ideal, is what we'd like the situation to be and people to be like, but that's not reality.
Yeah, it's like sentiment.
Yeah, it's like sentiment. So there's no point in spewing me giving politically correct advice, because it's not going to work for you. And then there's no point. I know lots of
So
relationships.
that's why you do
What I
marriage
do.
advice.
Yeah, marriage advice, yes. the really unfashionable thing to people. Oh, marriage is so archaic.
Based on charts.
Yes, and based on charts. So saying, a lot of
The
people
astrology.
fear about getting it wrong, and so forth. And but this is a way you can, what do you call it? Like a shortcut almost. Okay.
So maybe that could be your answer for the thing. Say, well, it depends on what year of the snake it is. or
No,
what
it depends on
year
your chart.
on your chart.
chart compared to with the other mixed
But what
with
was
the
the
other.
question again that we were supposed to keep talking about before we went to the break?
The break.
Oh, professional sports and about having relationships.
Okay, the thing with this relationship, this guy that gave relationship advice, he's saying that young men should not marry because the woman then one spends his money and prevents him from, or provides an obstacle for him to accumulate wealth. So he can't become wealthy.
Unless
So
he finds a gem,
yeah,
of course.
and what he's spewing, like I say, is true for a lot of women and a lot of men, because they don't realize that the woman, it can be an absolute resource. Women, I have to say, is probably the most untapped resource in the world.
Women are the most untapped resource in the world.
Yeah, totally underutilized for the right purpose. Yeah. I don't mean to send women to war.
Hydrogen seems to come to the top of the
And
The
I'm not talking about
mindset.
sending women to war, along with the men, or have
Oh, you're
women,
not.
or what I say, have to be pilots or commanders and that.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, and they're thinking, but the thing is, because that doesn't align with a woman's natural skill. That's the thing. Those things align with a man's natural skill. And what they want to do is have women do what comes naturally to men, but what they don't want to acknowledge that those things don't come naturally to women. And that's why women naturally do not choose them. Far fewer women choose, say, engineering as a career. Far fewer enrollments and so forth, or in maths or even space or aeronautics or something. And so they push it. Oh, so women are so underrepresented. We've got to encourage them to do this and that. But why not? They're not interested in it. You're normally interested in something you're naturally good at, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So the women, if there are women that are interested in to do that, fine, let them do it. But it's all about free choice, and of course, then it means that they're an exception to the rule. They've got that type of skill and that type of leading. Let them, okay, but don't put the women that don't want to do those things down. Okay, because them being their natural selves. And what I mean by women have been totally underutilized is that you have to look at women, what they are naturally good at. The more nurturing and also multitasking, multi-skilling, aren't they? Far better than men.
It's no denying that.
No denying that.
A bloke's mantra is,
One
for the
thing at a
most part,
time.
chop wood, carry water, and that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Nothing, when you're chopping wood, that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah. So that's what a woman's naturally. So why not tap into that, especially in marriage? Okay, but those types of skills, what type of job
there is.
benefits aligns best with that?
Yeah.
It's the administration. That's why they have the vast majority of secretaries are women.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're better at organize.
Women are better, but like they panic if there's a bill late.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas blokes panic if it's not late.
They panic. Yeah, only if the wheel falls off the car. Maybe not even then.
Yeah. Only when it's forced into the issue, you know.
Yeah, they're forced into it.
So there's definitely that's very apparent, isn't it?
Yes, it's very
Women are
apparent.
way better administration.
Way better administration, and
It's
so
not that blokes can't do it. Blokes can be great at it, but
it's not a skill that comes naturally
not a
to
skill
blokes.
comes naturally. Yeah, exactly right.
So they should be the administrators in the household because they are.
So they're the ones that should run the money.
They should run the money. They should
Oh,
be
yeah,
after
agree
the
to that.
bills
See
and
that?
So
Complete agreement.
okay, complete agreement, but for reasons a lot of people don't realize and don't understand. Okay, well, that's the thing. They need to see themselves as a team, really.
Yeah.
And so, you're in the same boat.
Yep.
So if your partner does well, you
Yeah.
benefit
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And if you do well good at your job, your partner benefits. So you both need to cherish each other.
That's the key.
Yeah. And what does that mean? That means that besides running the household, you see there's two different views. There's a Western and Eastern view. Western views is that I don't know, in marriage, just for a traditional woman stays at home, looks after the kids, and cooks and cleans, and that's why stay-at-home mums have been put down, and put down by feminists as well. You are being a doormat, You don't have power in the relationship. Go get yourself a career. Be a high-powered woman.
Well,
That's the prevailing attitude, feminist attitude, and also I'll have to say generally modern attitude as well, where they actually look down on the housewife, the stay-at-home mum, because that's all she does. But this is
it can be a big job at times as well.
But the thing is, I don't see it's not it's the role of the wife at home to look after the money and administration is not a thing. in Western culture. Yeah, I'm right to say that. Okay, and even in some Middle Eastern cultures, it's the same thing. The woman just stays home and looks after the kids. Well, that's because you're a woman, and I go out and earn money. I do the big things because I'm a man. Whereas I have to say, East Asian culture is very different. Okay, the man goes out to bring in the money for good reason, because he generally earns more. Not because he's just a man, because he generally earns more. So you want to maximize the best outcome for yourself as a couple and as a family, don't you? Okay, and why?
But
Because
Western culture is the same too. Though usually the man would earn more than the woman.
well, they're pushing. They want the woman to do more of that, mow the lawn, and men to do wash dishes, and they just to prove some point. This is my thing. It's only even Western culture. They might say they're for equality, but what they're really saying, they still value traditional male traits far more than the female traits, and
Such as?
jobs. Okay, and jobs, positions, leadership. Okay, physical strength.
Yeah.
That's why they want women to go out and die as men, go out in combat. Okay, they want women CEOs as many. They want female engineers. Men, because of the testosterone, have a greater spatial ability. That's why they're able to judge. I mean, look at even golfers. You don't require that much strength.
Or car racing driving.
Or car racing drivers.
There are the exceptions, though. There's
very
the women that are great at sort of martial arts or something. They're brilliant at it.
No, that's not spatial ability.
Yeah.
That's just a technique. Spatial ability is like judgment. You see, when you hit a golf
true.
ball, you have to judge which distance.
Yeah,
and
you
when
don't
you're
have to tell me. I grew up with it.
Yeah, and so when you're driving, high-powered driving, your judgment is when to turn, do the turn, and going at
split second. No.
And that is something women, because they don't have the testosterone, they cannot do.
Yeah.
It's purely related to hormones.
You've got to have a bit of oomph to you.
Yeah, and that is why the old adage about women and parallel parking. Issue about women cannot do parallel parking.
Well,
and that's because it's spatial, because you've got to do the judgment on the distance. Okay, when you specifically do the
ask
turn.
a woman to point where north is. Usually, most part, they've got no idea.
Yeah, it's spatial ability.
Yeah.
And that relates to hormone, to the testosterone. And so Western culture idealizes and values male traits, occupations over women. Okay? I'm not saying they don't value women. They only value women because they want women to be like men, not the feminine. Okay, let me rephrase it. They put down the feminine. Okay, and I'm not talking about feminists and so that. I'm talking actual feminine qualities, nurturing, okay, not valuing that, not giving it the same level of status or as importance as say, is someone doing engineering or let's say, or being a commander or something like that, or if females doing, like we mentioned before, very good at admin.
Yeah.
Areas. That's the sort of thing. You see, the big disparity, and putting down women that choose to stay at home. And also, but also because the women that stay at home, that all they do is cook, clean, and look after children. Okay, there's no expectation, or there's nothing part of the culture to say that women need to do more. Like I say, in Eastern culture, Eastern, specifically East Asian culture, that means Chinese, Korean, and Japanese. Not Thai, Vietnamese, or Malaysian. It's different. East Asian is those three type of countries, or the people from them, is that you are a team, and the woman's job is to look after the money. Okay, be frugal, make it the money stretch as far as she can. This is the best type of housewife, so to speak. Not only does she cook, clean, and raise kids, look after the money, and if she is more capable, to grow it, to grow the money that he brings in. So all he has to do, the husband, is just concentrate on bringing money. He doesn't have to think about anything else. Doesn't have to think about renewing his house insurance, car insurance, paying his rego, and lodge his tax returns when they're due. She takes care of all of that, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
then
lot of work.
and also if you're going to make investments, you need to study it.
You need to study. So
Yeah.
he does not have the time or the headspace to do that
Hmm.
because that's going to take him away from his work. And he's concentrating bringing in as much money as he can, and that is the big help that she gives him. Okay, and it's because also it's in her best interest that he does as well in his career or business as he can, but she also benefits. They're in the same boat. Okay, so
Without a paddle.
both people need to choose wisely. So traditionally in our what's seen as a good husband, good choice for a husband, good provider, good choice for a wife, a woman that's frugal. She does not waste the money her husband brings in. And that's the minimum. And then they look to see how much more capable she is. She's able to grow it. She's got the skills to grow it. That is more. And the skill, and from that, the analogy I can tell you, it's like going back to caveman times. You know, he goes to the hunt, brings it back to her. Okay, the purely just frugal woman would just kind of like do the skinning and preserving the meat. So let's have something to eat in the lean times when he can't get fresh meat in. So that's frugal saving, making it stretch as far as she can, and making most of his skill. You know, tanning the hive and with the meat, whatever else she can get out of that. If she's more capable, she can cut some of the meat that he's brought in, use that as bait and go fish and bring some more in. If she's more capable.
Use the fur and
and the fur, that's
make
part
a
of
jacket.
the tanning. Yeah, tanning. It's all skill.
All of that.
Making it stretch as far as she can. That's making it stretch as far as she can. But she can able to take that as bait and bring more in terms of resources. That is different. And how does that translate to modern life? And I'll tell you this phenomenon. It was called the Mrs. Watanabe phenomenon.
Watanabe.
Watanabe. Okay, Watanabe is a typical surname in Japan, just like called Smith.
Oh,
Just
Watanabe.
That's just like calling saying Mr. and Mrs. Smith of Australia. You've got Mrs. Watanabe of Japan, the mythical Japanese housewife.
Watanabe-sa.
Yeah, this one, I suppose, is Mrs. Smith. Okay, and I think this would have been in the 90s, where Japan had this really low inflation. And it was stagnant for so long. Started from the 90s, and so
They were getting the Industrial Revolution going.
Yeah, and so the interest rate that they got in Japan was
Less than.
was basically nothing. Okay,
It was negative, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was negative 0.3 or something.
Whereas overseas, the interest rate is so much higher. So what they do, they call it carry forward trades.
Yeah.
So after dropping off her kids off at school,
Yeah.
she'll come home. Okay, and on the computer there, do carry forward trades. So their money then can get lent out overseas. Okay, for these higher interest rates.
Yep.
And so much so that they were calling it the Mrs. Watanabe effect, because these ladies were moving markets
Wow.
with their money. So that in that way,
A housewife that dropped the kids off
And come home and do
showed
all
these
that.
executives how to do it.
how to do it. Okay, and she was
Figured it out.
She was bringing the money he brought in. She was there to grow it. She was doing this to grow it.
Wow.
Okay, benefiting their family.
Wow.
So it's more than just So that's why I say women have been an untapped, especially wives, untapped resource, untapped, and a woman can do that. And now you're going to ask me, though I think it's time to go to some music, but we'll come back. Answer the question, should men marry accountants or bookkeepers? Okay.
Have we finished the other questions? We've been around to digressed a fair bit. Did we finish the other question?
That still relates to it.
All right.
All right.
It's all the same big question in the end.
No. Actual relationship experts advise against marrying the housewifey type of woman that just want to be a housewife, because they say that all she's going to do is be at home, okay, look after the kids, and so She's going
Oh,
to
is
be
that all?
she's going to be very child centric, and everything, her thoughts and all her efforts are around children. And a mindset, whereas the husband goes out to work, and that's his mindset there. And so then your worlds apart. And so that's also, and I guess with advice like that, it's also disparaging the traditional marriage and women staying at home kind of thing. They're not saying like, okay, she could actually do something else, not just be looking after children while she's at home. Because if you've got a housewife mindset, that type of housewife, and they've got the husband working, so the minds are totally apart, and then basically they don't share a life. And that's when they just they just walk away from the marriage, or the husband walks away from marriage because I get nothing from this marriage. I just get basically a housekeeper and a nanny.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
a lot of the times you just come home, they're just to sleep, because they're
Yeah.
12 hours a day, sort of a lot
The
of the
thing,
times.
and a lot of times, then what do they talk with their wives, their
Yeah, what do you
partners?
talk
What do you
about?
talk about? She can tell you about.
World news or something?
Yeah, she can tell you about what she's done. She's taken.
Oh, I got my nails done.
Yeah, how many? Yeah, the bargain of dishwashing powder dishwashing liquid she got. It was sale for half price, and she bought 20 bottles. And what the kids, where she took the kids today, what they ordered at Macca's. Okay, they come home to that, and he can tell you what you can tell her about the meetings he's been through and all that. It's totally out of her realm. There's no connection.
Yeah.
So they're not sharing a life.
No.
That's what I think. So what would be best? In my view, yes, the woman stays at home and looks after the children, but they do it together. They work out, discuss where they want to be, the level they want to be at in how many years or so forth, and how much they want to retire on, and so forth and so forth. And they both work out a plan how they're going to do it.
Yeah, you need to have a plan.
To plan, okay, you do this. Okay, if you bring in this much money, I would bring in this money. Then with that money, after I've calculated how much expenses that we need, that
to
get by, and then how much is going to be left over, and with that left over, this is what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, in order to make another 20% on it a year or whatever, this is how much it will accumulate.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically compound for us. And so by this year, we should have this much. Okay, that is where we're working together. Okay, and if you manage to get the promotion to this level, this is where we can increase our income, and this is how many years we can shave off that goal. Okay, and then you talk about how he can get it, and so forth. Then she'll have a vested interest in how he's doing at work for that day. Then he can come home and tell her this is what happened at work, and so forth. And they discuss it. Okay,
she's got to make sure he keeps going.
going. Okay, what do you think are going to be the blockers then? Oh, okay, I've been that person. I think that person is trying to backstab me or whatever. Then you have to work out a strategy. Overcome it.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so this is how you both get involved and work as a team.
Oh, is that how you get involved as a team?
Even though one person just stays at home and the other person works. But your life is integrated. You see, this is how it can be and how it should be.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So it's effectively working as a team, but I don't see anyone putting that out, giving advice. And modern life,
There's not, is there?
no one's thinking about that when they're dating and they're looking for a partner, are they? Which is absolute shame. I mean, you need to marry young. It's like you can have children easily, and have the time with them. So not when you have children. Well, listen, the man when he's 60, and then only have 20 years with them, and that's good. And then they lose a father at 20.
Yeah.
Age 20. That's not good.
Yeah.
So, but when you're young, you don't know. You don't know about all this because you haven't accumulated enough life experience, been through life to learn all these lessons. And that's why I see the adults should be coming in and telling them and advising them, but they're not doing that. The parents are not doing that for their children.
Or they are, but they're just not, the message is not being received.
No, but look, there's two problems. One, a lot of them don't know that they need to teach or are not aware of it. And secondly,
True.
even if they knew that, they don't know how to explain. True? Yeah, it comes out in look. It sounds
Well, they
like
got to know
commands.
themselves before they can
Yeah,
teach it.
yeah. One, they don't know, and then they don't know, and they don't realize themselves, and they don't know how to teach it. Or if they even the most well-meaning look in East Asian societies, the elders, they're well-meaning, they have lifelong, and they know that they need to pass that on. But the thing
Yeah.
is, they don't know how to
And
explain.
the tongue loves to wag.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't understand they need to explain, and they don't know how to explain. So it just comes out as commands.
Yeah.
You receive as commands,
That's
and
what
then people
happens. Yeah.
recoil from
yeah.
commands.
They recoil from commands.
Commands without
That's
what,
right.
what? That's unreasonable.
Oh, I want you to do this. It's like, oh, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, but they don't
so, all right,
know
we're
why.
working as a team then. But,
They don't know
but
why.
when you're ordered to do something,
it's
it's the proverbial.
But when you
yeah,
explain,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say, darling, I've been through this road before, so I'm giving you the heads up so that you can avoid this. It's just like I've been through that bumpy road, so I know where all the nooks and crannies and all the potholes are. So I'm telling you before you start what to look for, so you can avoid it and not have to have a flat tire like I did.
Yeah.
Right? And then anyone in their right mind would listen. Someone's going to give me a warning about what's ahead.
Well, could be Google.
Could be Google. Google. And as anyone has used Google Maps would know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily, they might give you the shortest distance, but there's a lot of things it doesn't tell you, like the road is actually full of potholes, for instance.
A bit like getting married, you mean?
Yeah, because if you don't know what to look for. If you didn't choose the right road, you see.
Well.
Yeah, like I say, Google is not always the answer because look, I've been through and used Google. It showed me Google Maps, showed me a road. I went through that road.
Doesn't exist.
Well, it did exist, but it was so bumpy. It was so full of potholes that my car couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I had to go back
You have to
and
do
go
it
take the
your way.
long way that had a sealed road.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Otherwise, it will rattle you to
yeah,
bits.
that's the other thing it doesn't. But it's saying if someone's been to that area before, would have told you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, don't. Even though it says it's a shorter one, you don't take that one because of this.
And then you end up saying, oh, if I read a sign somewhere.
So if only I
There should have been a sign at the side of the road. They would have told me.
told me.
And it's just like, this is the same thing, isn't it?
Or
I should have been told this. This is basic, sort of.
Yeah, well, you didn't know beforehand.
You didn't know beforehand, but then
you
you're
should have
stuck in.
had some forewarning.
Yeah.
But the thing, people don't warn you. And
Unless they listen to GLF
GLF.
89.3.
Yes, the Relationship Whisperer Show.
The Relationship Whisperer Show.
I give it to you as it is.
That could lead to many things right there.
Yeah, so, like I was saying, you don't have to, for young men, don't have to fear you marrying young and then your wealth accumulation stops. Because the woman has, been spending your money and also been a hindrance to you earning money. Because with the right woman, she can actually get him there faster than him on his own.
Yeah.
So she doesn't necessarily have to be also earning it herself, so you double the income, so to speak, if she does earn it as much as he does, but to manage and grow it. Like the Mrs. Watanabes in Japan.
Yep.
Like I told you, they moved markets, those ladies.
That's amazing.
Yeah, with a sheer volume of them.
There's lots of them.
Lots of them because that's a culture. And so that's how they're trained. The parents are training the daughters and sons, this is what you have to do. Okay, and they see their parents doing that. So it gets passed along. So if you know the culture, then that's what you can expect normally. But if something is not typically part of your culture, then you have to look for the exceptions to the rule. And what I see is Western society, that is not part of the culture. the woman looking after the household finances, managing and growing it, is not inherently part of the culture. It's just like, oh, she wants to contribute, she goes out and gets a job herself as well. Yeah?
Yep.
And they say, oh, yeah, Mama.
That's the main thing,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, they're saying, yeah, my wife helps, she has a job as well. That's all
Yeah.
they say. You know, but they don't realize that there's another job.
but if you do see a lot of the commercials on TV or whatever, it's all situated where the man seems to be portrayed as being somewhat inferior in aptitude.
Aptitude in a household.
And the
home
woman is
environment.
the one that the ad is targeted towards the woman.
Well,
And her making the insurance payment, and her making the decision on the mortgage and the interest rates and all of that. So it is in that way, you know, sort of presumed that the woman.
but it's not actually. Look, I guess it's
And maybe it's not. Maybe it's like.
subconscious. You mean?
And maybe in society it's like it's not being told enough for the women.
To do it,
That
they have to actively
that's your
do it.
role.
That's your role. Yes, they do not.
That's your role.
They-
That's
it's
one of
either
your
you,
roles.
It's either you get a job, or you stay home and be a housewife and be a
Be a
doormat.
housewife.
And be a doormat. That's what they're
Well,
thinking.
maybe not a doormat.
No,
maybe.
but that's the thing from coming out from feminists and
Yeah.
all this modern society saying, because if you're a housewife, then automatically you lose power. There's a power imbalance.
No, and
Then-
also
then they
it's the
don't
presumption, you can't have a happy life or whatever. No, it could be greatly rewarding.
Greatly rewarding, because a lot of these research, a lot of researching for the best mortgage deals, the best insurance rates.
Yeah.
It takes effort, time and effort, and that's you're contributing in that way.
Yeah.
Getting the best rates and making your household money stretch as far as you can. Okay, and so as a thing, like I said, yeah, you have to look for the exceptions. If that's not a part of a Western culture, then if you want someone like that, she's the exception to the rule.
So if you
You have to
notice,
actively-
if you notice that a cash register, for example, or shopping centre, whatever, it's like when a bloke pays for something. Don't worry about the receipt, and he just collects the change in his hand, puts it in his pocket, and walks off.
And
But mostly the woman says, "Oh, can I have the receipt, please?"
Or she
and
count.
then she gets this big roll of receipt out, and she's looking at it standing there before she moves the trolley and lets
No,
someone
wait.
else
She
in.
checks the change that she's
Checks
given.
the change and checks the amount.
That's all right.
And
That's
then
its minutes.
they go over to the corner and then maybe look through all the items, sort of thing, to check it off. Most blokes don't do
They
that.
don't do that. Yeah.
They don't do it.
They don't do with it.
But women do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But it hasn't been expanded upon. Yes, she's got all these skills. These skills. Why not put them to use?
A bit like a border collie. You know, it's like, why would you?
Why would you?
It's got all these skill sets, and they don't get used.
And they
It's
don't
just-
get used.
Just a personal pet or whatever.
Yeah, it gets frustrated. Basically, it's it's not been used to its full potential, and I can see women, especially in the West, and even the Middle East, especially when they basically cancel women. Well, let's say the feminine is not given any importance, or much of an importance.
Or as what it would be in the West, anyhow.
Yeah. So the Western is saying, yeah, it's underutilized. Female skills. I'm not saying
Female skill
women,
sets.
but female skills.
Yeah, female skill sets.
Skill sets grossly underutilized.
Yeah.
Instead, they don't recognize that and keep glorifying and valuing the male skill sets. So because those are important, so they want women to do that, which does not come naturally. And why keep putting one skill set as more importance over the other? Because I guess the female skill sets has never been fully utilized. So it doesn't. The society doesn't recognize the potential what it can be. So that's why it's always seen as being less than the male. What do you think?
Well, it's a bit deep for a Sunday afternoon, isn't it?
But I guess, yeah, like I was saying, not many people realize that women are an untapped resource. And to my knowledge, really, only East Asian women do it because it's the culture. So I have to qualify for everyone, and not other Asian women.
No?
No. Yeah, Malay, Thai, Vietnamese, and say don't. They'll be lots of men think they want a feminine woman, so they go to Asia for it. And they say those other Asian women, yes, they'll be very female. They look after the house, cook delicious food, and look after the kids. And then I guess that's what a lot of Western men feel hunger for.
Yeah.
They really deeply want that because that's inherent, that's subconscious, and that's inherent in the nature. The masculine is seeking that, but that's all they'll do, and they do not do the money management well, and won't grow it either. And when I say this, it's always generally the case. There's always going to be exceptions, but
True.
yeah. But in actual fact, in some of the women, they expect to be paid a wage because you're being their wife. Yeah, they're being your wife.
Yeah.
Be looked after.
Yeah.
And what? You want them to help you anything outside? No. That's women don't do that.
And many CEOs or major corporate guys, they're willing to pay it.
To pay what?
To pay
Pay their wives.
Yeah, because then it's clear cut then.
So
Then
they don't get anything
then
in
the
the
rules
split.
are clear.
They don't get anything in the split.
Then you know who the boss is.
But the thing is that women don't mind because they see it as a right to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right to get paid. Yeah.
They're in a service. So that's the time. And yeah, this is what you miss. I was trying to say they refuse to do certain things because that's not a woman's work. That's a man's work.
Yeah.
You want me to help with the mowing?
Take-
No. Or
take-
you want me to help?
Take the trash out or
check
whatever.
it? No. Or paint the fence? No.
Yeah.
That's women don't do that.
And you know what else? The woman's got plenty of strength to do it herself. She can do it herself, but she wants the man to do it, even though she can do it. And that's the thing. It's like
Yeah. So generally, she refused to do any work outside the house. So because that's men's work.
yeah.
So to that extent.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why only. So in that way, it's almost like a Middle Eastern society as well, Middle Eastern culture. Men's work, women's work, yeah, that sort of thing. It's only really
Clearly defined.
clearly defined, but they don't have the understanding or, I guess, the view that you're working it together as a team. You both have separate jobs. Almost like whereas Western society a bit different. It's just you don't even have separate jobs. You have your own work jobs and you just come together end of the day. That's about it. It's only really East Asian culture that I know that have that real view that this is a teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so look, if something happens to the husband has an accident or falls ill or something,
Yeah.
she's got to step up and cover for him until
Well, that
he
would
gets
be
back.
the same with Western as well. Like Western women do that too.
Yeah, but are they capable? This is the thing. The other women also capable of stepping up. So this is something you blokes need to also consider when you're choosing a partner. If something happened to you, can she step up? Is she capable of stepping up and feeling your shoes while you recover? If you have someone able to look after everything while you recover, imagine what a relief it is to you.
Yep.
You know.
But if something goes wrong.
Yeah, if something goes wrong, something happens, can she step up? You know, just like if you injured your right hand, your left hand has to step up to fill in for your right hand. Yeah.
True.
And if you can't, you're in big trouble. You're helpless. You can't do anything.
You can hardly even pick your nose.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have used that analogy, but yeah, that's the thing. And the reverse, if something happened to the woman, okay, the man has to jump in and do the cooking, because you can't. Otherwise, what, you're just going to give your kids takeaway? Yeah, and that's why in some cultures they really define, and some men, the cultures absolutely refuse to learn how to cook because they are men, and men do not cook. That's a woman's thing. So you're not doing your family unit any favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go about doing your the roles that come naturally to you,
Yep.
but need be, You have to fill in the other person's role
Yep.
just
you
to
gotta
get
roll
by
Up,
until you get through that.
yeah, roll up the sleeves. And
Roll up this sleeve because this is working as a team, working together as a team.
lovely.
So on that, we'll go to some music. And you're listening to 2GLF 89.3 FM, the Relationship Whisperer show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. Now, a reminder to everyone that they can download their own free copy of my book, Your Complete Partner, How to Choose a Partner for a Lifetime. And it's absolutely free. You
Absolutely free?
Yes, Bluey, absolutely free. And all you need to do is go to my website, makemarriagegreatagain.net, to download your free copy. Okay, and for those that don't have the time to read or prefer not to read, there is an audiobook version as well, just for a few dollars to cover costs. Saying, this is my gift to you all because I sincerely want you to choose the right partner for marriage, because it all starts with the right partner in the first place. So what's some of the
things that's in the book, like in the table of contents, can you recall?
Yeah, so basically I'll explain what a marriage is. Okay, it's surprising. People don't actually know when it comes down to it.
It's a contract.
I think more than that. In fact, what do you do in a marriage? Do people actually
give
know?
up all your free will, say goodbye to all your friends. What else do you do?
That's a bloke's talk,
relinquish all your money.
After we highlighted everything all the good things that could happen.
Yes,
but
indeed.
only if you choose the right partner.
Only if you choose the right
So
one.
I spell out what is important or what you need to match up on. Okay, so you have the knowledge to when you go out and choose, especially in dating.
Thank God we've got your show.
Yes, thank goodness. And
your free book.
Yes. And to my knowledge, I am the only relationship expert that actually gives this information.
Is that right?
This point of view out.
You're the only one?
Yeah.
The only one?
To my knowledge, I'm the only one. I have not seen any other advice, anyone else out there giving the same type of advice that I do. Go to the crux of the matter.
I have to agree with you because I have looked around.
Yeah.
Sort of
And so it's also because it's basically I turn things on its head, really show you a different way of looking at things. And so because of that, I have to give you a warning. This is a completely different relationship book. It's not like any other.
Not warm and fuzzy.
Not warm and fuzzy.
It serves the ice cream cold.
It's the hard truth.
Oh.
But you need that, otherwise it doesn't work. Like I say, if I
dun, 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 dun.
spew out political correctness, it doesn't work. Based on that information, people need to know the hard truths, the reality, because that's what we work with. We work with the realities and human nature. It's a wonder why I don't know all these other relationship experts that tell you what should be done, okay, how things should be to work, but they don't deal with human nature as it is. So I look at that because how can we get that to work using with human nature? Because the easier something is, the longer it will last. True. How many heavy boxes can you pick up, as opposed to how many light boxes can you pick up? How long can you keep going picking up heavy boxes as to light boxes? Or walking on a flat surface as opposed to a slope going up. What's the difference you can cover?
Yeah.
Or even sloping down.
Steeper the incline and slows things right down.
Yeah. So I guess some people, if we're using the slope, the incline analogy, the others will tell you what type of shoes may give you an easier incline or so forth and so on. And I'll tell you just avoid the steep incline and just go for the flat surface. This is where it is. It's a crossover. You get it right from the beginning, and that's also a thing. I mean, you need to match with each other naturally as you are. It's very important. That's why relationship compatibility analysis. I do that
Oh, you
and
do?
make sure that you're
Well, you
compatible
do. You
beforehand.
do that through your astrological
Yeah,
readings, isn't it?
because I'm also an astrologer as well, and I've done that, and also
And what do you specialize in? The Taoist, yeah?
the
Well,
Taoist
what? Tell
astrology.
people a bit about what a Taoist is.
Well, Taoist is a religion. It's about living with nature. A lot of people would be familiar with the yin yang symbol.
Yeah, the
And
black and the white.
yeah, with a circle.
with a wee
Yes.
bit of black in it's meaning like, oh, everybody who's good's got a wee bit of bad in them, and
No,
everybody who's bad's got a bit of good.
no, it's not about bad.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what it's sort of interpreted as in many
No,
instances.
yeah,
but-
and people interpret it wrong, don't understand. It's kind of like it's not opposing forces, complementary forces, but each has the germ of the other a little bit. So the white side has a black dot, and the black side has a white dot. Just think about the masculine and the feminine.
And when they broke down in matter into the protons in the very nuclei of the atoms of being, they actually found that symbol.
Really?
Yeah, it was on the Joe Rogan show. He was blown away.
Wow.
It was like they knew that thousands of years
Years ago, yep.
And it's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
It's so clear. Remember, I believe you mentioned it once before.
Yeah.
It was on
It's
Joe
Joe
Rogan.
Rogan show. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the yin and yang symbol.
Yeah,
was-
yin and yang symbol, and that's why apart on Taoist philosophy, that's why he has to say the white side represents the yang, the masculine, and the black side represents the feminine. The
So,
the
but
yin.
how does that relate to?
But yeah, like I said, let me finish explaining. With a dot of the opposing side means germ of the other. Like women are estrogen based, but they have some testosterone too, a little bit.
Ah,
Okay, of the other side, you see,
Yeah.
and the men
Have a
are
wee bit
primarily
of a-
they're testosterone, but they have a little bit of estrogen
all right, good
to keep
analogy.
in balance.
Yeah.
A bit of balance. Yeah, a bit of the other side. You see,
I'm glad that you kept going through my rebuttal.
so it's all balanced. You see, and so you need both. You need the masculine and the feminine, and in marriage, you need them both to be active. But that's also why, when we look at a lot of people lament and feel lonely, I guess, when do I meet my someone? When do I meet someone, And people actually get desperate and they go on these very bad dates and so forth. And just a period where you really want to meet someone.
Yeah.
And it's always, you feel like you're scraping the bottom of a barrel. Yeah, It's I meet very
All the good ones are
incompatible.
already taken.
The rest
and-
are disabled and so forth. Like car parking spaces, the thing they say about men are like car parking spaces.
Oh yeah, pray tell.
Yeah.
What-
All the good ones are taken, the rest are disabled.
But the disabled get to the front of the queue.
Disabled. Yeah. No reason. But people don't have to be desperate. And what you can also look at, we can also do a reading as to when you would actually meet that someone.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be
Well, that's
be
that-
desperate and panic.
But what's that reading called? It's the house
It's-
of.
House of spouse.
Yeah.
we look at the house of spouse because that governs your love relationships. Besides marriage, we look at that and how that interacts and when that gets activated. It's when you're likely to meet someone. You're in a much stronger position. So in periods where you don't, it's very difficult. It's not impossible. You can still meet someone, but they may not be suitable. Okay, and depending on the readings we choose, there are some that are more better choices in this period than if you meet someone in this period. You still meet someone in this period, but it's not as good a match as you get in that period. Okay, especially when it comes to proper and improper spouse. We can say, this is when you're going to meet your improper spouse, and this is when you're going to meet your proper spouse.
Or likely to meet.
Yes.
Or more likely to meet. You can't say you will meet them.
Look, with astrology, I've seen it almost every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they
A
meet
lot of
someone.
people say that. They say
They
it's
meet
so
someone
accurate.
during
They
that
say
time.
It's so accurate.
Yeah, I haven't seen some. I haven't had done a reading for someone where I've said, okay, you would have met someone during this period, and they said no.
Is
I
that
haven't.
right?
I haven't had that situation happen.
Is that right?
It's not impossible.
Yeah, of course.
But
well, they could just sit at home.
Sit at home and not do nothing.
It could rain that week.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I haven't had that happen.
Wow.
Yeah. So unfortunately, for some people, those matches come very late in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you miss out on the wonderful, especially with a proper spouse. Could be when you're 60, you finally meet,
Yeah.
and you needed to meet when you're in your 20s or 30s, and then you would have had a great life together with you have children and enjoy that
maybe.
relationship to that thing
We
with
don't
the proper
know.
spouse.
We don't know what would happen if.
But out of all of them, I'm just saying, you don't know, but out of all of them, that is the best that you'd get. Doesn't mean it'd be as good as someone else's proper spouse, your proper spouse, that type of relationship, but that in terms of your overall chart, that's going to be the best that you can get in this lifetime. Okay.
Very interesting.
But yeah, and so in a way, sometimes, I feel bad giving people the news that way, but they need to know that's going to be heaps later. So you can compromise, I guess.
Oh, you've got 5 years more to wait. I would get a whole new DVD set.
Or something like
Boxes
that.
of chocolates.
Like that. Or don't waste your time desperate for one date after another on online dating or so forth, or at the bar and so forth, or even the partner now. You've got a partner now, but when you get to this age, that's when you're going to meet the one. So,
you're likely to meet the one.
Yeah, well, in my case, I haven't had anyone not yet.
Wow.
But, and so I wouldn't really put a commitment to this person you're with, because you're going to meet someone much better for you later. So
That can be difficult.
that can be difficult. So you're in a bit
Because
of a
relationships are largely about timing.
Yeah, look, they say that people marry whoever's around, available, when they're ready. Okay, but when they're ready, well, what it meant was you missed the best match, someone much better for you than the person you just met when you're ready.
That's
and
right.
that's a shame.
That's a shame. Yeah.
But at least with this, you would know when you got a reading beforehand. Okay, look, you might not be quite ready, but that's the best match that you're going to get, the best partner for you. So don't give that up. Later, when you're more ready and settled, well, the quality of the partner in terms of compatible for you is not going to be as good. So then it's up to you to make an informed decision. So it's all about information.
It's all about information.
Information for knowledge, that sort of thing. Then you can make the decisions. Okay?
Or you can get your mum and dad to do it for you.
Yes, that has and statistically, you know what? Those marriages work out better.
Yeah.
Because they're far
Grounded.
less divorces.
Grounded, yeah.
Yeah, because the parents, because they've got the wisdom. I mean, the life experience, and they understand their child. They know what their child needs, and they're not emotionally involved, so they're not going to be affected by a date's gimmicks or superficial thing, something superficial. They can see through that, and they're not emotionally involved.
Yeah.
With that, then they
Yeah.
can be rational.
Yeah.
They can take a step and they can actually view things rationally and
course.
objectively.
Yeah.
And I said, no, this is more the partner that you need, so to speak. And that's why it ends up working. And some people, I've said that they have criticism. I said, because in those countries, they're not allowed divorce. Well, or cultures. Well, or it's discouraged kind of thing. But, well, more often than not, then because they're actually happy. Even though you have migrants in Western countries where, divorce is freely, but when it's chosen for them, it works out better.
Yeah.
So with people with all this freedom to choose their partner and get to know each other and all that thing, well, they made a mess of it, haven't they? Look at our sky-high divorce rates.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, so it comes back, people do not know how to choose. And so we're coming towards the end of our program. And so, just as a recap,
A recap.
that other male
A synopsis.
is that man from YouTube giving out the relationship advice, saying that women should choose men that are financially and emotionally stable. And because it's because when you marry younger, when you haven't reached that point yet, because it does take men some time to accumulate assets and resources, then the woman spends their money or is a hindrance to them earning, accumulating.
But if she marries somebody too old, then there's a disconnect, isn't
there? There is a disconnect in seeing how many years.
She might be appealing to him, things, but he's not appealing to her.
I'll tell you what, how many pretty young things do you see on the arms of old billionaires?
Well, especially in places where the society is harsh, and then you'll see that the good-looking ones are looking to get a ticket out of there,
But it's not even just those societies. I mean, in Western societies, how many, look at America, how many young pretty things are on billionaires' arms.
Sugar daddy and
sugar daddies and all that. Because at the end of it all, people want to have an easy life, happy and be easy. And for the most part, that means having resources to provide that. Or you don't have to go out and work.
Yeah.
And so you choose someone with all that already. Then you don't have to do it and accumulate it yourself.
So there's one thing is it's got a lot of benefits, but there could also be the thing of that disconnect.
Yeah, there
where
is.
You're not really associated with someone. You're not really connected to someone.
Yeah.
You're there
For
I think the quote was at the beginning of the show, if you marry for money, you'll truly earn it.
Yeah.
And in that, it's like, you might have a nice car, you might have a nice, go here, a nice clothes, whatever, and a beautiful place and swimming pool and all the rest of it. But you could be tormented inside, so lonely, so deprived, and you think, you've missed out on life with your friends, and
because we are with this old person.
You're with this old person.
Yeah.
And you could be in resentment. So there's all manners of things.
All manners of things.
Being human, in this great sea of life, this bardo journey, somewhat. In life, there's so many variances, and our interactions with people in relationships, and who we meet and who we, who we associate with, and it's all a great show.
And on that, I hope
just like your show.
Yeah, just like my show. I hope everyone's enjoyed the show. Follow me on Facebook under Miss Dragonfly and or Make Marriage Great Again. Please follow both if you can. If not, at least follow one, because I do post different things.
Is that MAGA?
On my
Make Marriage Great Again? No, MAGA.
The MMGA. Make Marriage Great Again. So let me know what you think by leaving your comments on my Facebook page. If you have any questions as well, leave them there. Or if you have a topic or anything you'd like me to cover, then please feel free to leave it there. And if I'm able to cover it, then I will. So that's the show. And don't forget to join me at the same time next week. And until then, it's bye for now. And thank you for coming in, Bluey. Again.
You're very welcome.
Again. Your input was
2GLF.
I appreciate it. I think the blokes and the guys out there appreciate you being on as well. Having the voice for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. And tune in same time next week. And until then, it's bye for now.
Bye.